So so they felt that the elder daughter was very auspicious, and she was very fair, good looking, very beautiful. And my parents suddenly, they from somewhere, some wealth happened to them, and they became a little richer than what they were, because earlier they were very hand to mouth. So they considered that she was very auspicious, and like they would worship this elder sister of mine. Then came the boy in the family. So even he was very, like, oh, you have a male child in a Punjabi family in India. To have a male child is a big thing, because you will have somebody there. And I was number 3, who was very ordinary looking, with all curls hanging, a dark little girl, very skinny. And my mother would say, my God, like, she doesn't look like my child. And everybody would say, you don't look like you belong to your parents. You don't look like you belong to your parents. You don't look like a Punjabi. So I was not that fair, and everything. So I had this major inferiority complex all the time. I had a major inferiority complex that I don't belong to my family. That sense of belonging is not there, because I'm a dark child, and I'm not like auspicious like the way my sister is considered to be. I'm not worshipped like the male child of the house. And if I have to ask for anything, then it's like, okay, you can compromise. No, it's okay, you can do without this. So I had a major inferiority complex. And in those days, I just remember one thing is, my mother and father would be praying, and I would just pray to God, oh God, like, do something for me. I need to do something to get out of this complex. I didn't know it's an inferiority complex, but I was ambitious. Even from the time that the day I realized that I'm not acknowledged in my family, I'm taken for granted, that's the time the desire inside was, I became ambitious. I wanted to do something in my life, that I be recognized, that I be acknowledged, that I am also something. This search for I am, I think, began in that time when I was not acknowledged, taken for granted. There was never a day, I remember, when my mother packed me a tiffin box and gave it to me for school. There was never a day, I remember, that my mother went to drop me till my school bus, or to pick me up like other parents. And I would come alone, picking up my own bag, and miserable and feeling lonely. And I just knew that I have only one source. There is somebody up there. I would pray to him, because I was told God is up there. So I would also be praying to God up there all the time. Of course, the connection was there inside, but I never understood. I would always be praying to God up there. And when things changed, like, and I was very, very average in my studies. I didn't like so many subjects, because there was nobody interested in teaching me. Though I wanted to study, but there was a lot of pressure at home. Right from the time a girl is born in a Punjabi family, in those days, I'm talking about those years when, early years, the girl is only supposed to cook, clean, do up the house, and all that. And supposing I have to go to school, then I have to fulfill all the conditions of my mother, so that I can go to school or I can study. And by the time I would be so tired, I couldn't study. And if you don't get good marks, I was even beaten up by my parents in those days. Like, those days, parents did hit you, they would slap you and stuff like this. So it was, a very, if I think of my childhood, there was a lot of intensity in the childhood, where there was a lot of longing for recognition. I understand from that we all, every person, all of you who are sitting there, also wait to be recognized, also wait to be acknowledged. The self-acknowledgement, this self-recognition is a desire which needs to start from somewhere. That is something that takes you places. Otherwise, you wouldn't do anything, believe me, if you didn't have this craving to be recognized, this craving to be acknowledged by your own people. I would always look for acknowledgement from all relatives who visit me, but I was always taken for granted, because the third daughter in the house was not a great thing for my family. This desire inside, every time I remember when I was a kid, and first, second standard also, and I would close my eyes, I had a vision of me being something very great. And I always think, is this ambition, or is this a desire to be recognized? Now, when When I became a very good coach, I trained a lot of corporates and the companies and stuff. Earlier I have also done a lot of commercial coaching where I groom company staff. I do a lot of business, business growth for people and business stimuli. When I reached that stage, I understood that this has come from that space of desire, from there where I needed to be recognized. But now when I look at this is just that it is just one indication where you start. The desire to know yourself is to know who I really am, because from outside nobody tells you who you really are. Outside it's just a name, it's just whose daughter you are, whose sister you are, whose parent you are, but you don't know who you are. From there my journey actually began. When I was in fourth standard, my parents shifted to a place which was where we had a factory, and there itself, our residence was also there. That place was a very lonely place, and nobody had lived there forever before us. When we shifted there, everybody would tell around that place, इस जगह में बहुत आत्माएं घूमती है. Like there are a lot of souls here. People have had a lot of experience of Atma. So I used to be like, oh my God, there is Atma. And I would always be praying, that I don't see some Atma. I don't see some Atma. So I was very scared on my own, and I had my own fears. But I hadn't understood the word Atma. Atma means soul. So this word was fed to me in that very time, where all the people around would say, oh yeah, bahut Atmaएं घूमती है. There are a lot of souls around here, this, that. So that was a quite, we were in a place where we were solitary and there was nobody around us for kilometers. And every time it would be dark, I would rush inside and say my prayers, because I was scared, because there are Atmas around, and what will happen if I get in touch with some Atma? So I would be very scared and I would pray. So if I remember my childhood, my journey began there, where when you don't get recognition from the outside world, something inside me turned inward, and I had this very strong craving to prove myself that I exist, or to prove it to others that I am also something. Most of the people who have done something great, if you see Hitler, or if you see Napoleon, why do men have this feeling to do something great or to control the whole world? Is because it comes from a space where they think that they are not acknowledged or they are not recognized. From that space they come out, and then they want to control the whole world. If you notice, all the men who have done something great, they even have an inferiority complex because of some women sometimes. See, so men always try to prove themselves good. I'm not a feminist. I'm just stating what I have understood. All people who try to do greater things, who try to be on bigger platforms, who want to be noticed, recognized, I want my voice heard, is because they have not been heard, because they have not been recognized, because nobody ever acknowledged them. So I have also been that, let me tell you, from that part which, like I said, to tell this, it took me a lot of courage to come out and say that I come from that space too. For some time, I did not recognize it maybe. But as the spiritual doors open inside of true recognition, I also recognize that it is this, not that. I don't need the power to prove it. I don't need to control the world to do it. I just need to be myself. Now it is a different league, but when I was completely with the third dimension, with the material energy, I was just trying to prove myself as to what I am. Now there is no such urge. But yes, believe me, if you have any such urge, first thing is you recognize from which space has this urge come. If you do not recognize from where this urge comes into you to do something great. For example, I have heard people say, I want to become the best healer. So best is a comparison. That means there is something you have been compared to which was not best, which wants you to be the best, isn't it? So you're craving to be the best. Like, I want to be very good at this. So where does this come from? From somewhere which is not very good according to us. All these kind of judgments that we make about ourselves, right from the beginning, where we are fed, we are conditioned into a belief system. It all starts from there. It all starts from there. And that is why, when I say the word regression, people don't understand what regression. So in regression, exactly, you start recognizing all these things that you have been through, and from that space, when you come out and you're operating with that energy, it is never a neutral energy, because it is a biased, it's a prejudice, it's a stale energy from which we operate. Till you don't come in your neutral energy, in the alignment, you will not recognize many things about yourself. You may just see in the mirror and say, this is me, but this is not the real me, let me tell you. So I'll give you a small example, okay? Because I have been treated like this, now for me, I have a soft corner, and whenever I see somebody else suppressing somebody's spirituality or somebody's personality, I immediately want to protest or stand up for them, and then suddenly I take a step back. No, I'm not supposed to do this. They'll come out in their right timing. I cannot interfere in something, isn't it? But you see many people who have been wronged, or who something has been done to them, they start interfering in everything in the universe, in every other person's matter. Even when people don't stand up for themselves, they start fighting for them, for these other people who have been a reflection of our past. You always notice this. Sometimes you start standing up for people only because you believe somewhere of you, something of you is still there in that reflection in those people. That is why you're standing up to them. So your whole life, what you operate, the way you talk, the way you handle things comes from that space. You cannot know the original way of your communication, the way you handle things, your power, your management skills, your talents, unless you do it from that healed space of your past. That's how I understood healing. That's how I understood people. That's how I connect. I have this empathy, is because I understand my own space and power. And this happened only because I have regressed this. Why I make you do these meditations is I take you in a neutral state where healing suddenly happens, energy flows into you, and you get over your past memories. I have known a lot of healers in this journey, when this awakening happened. So let me start again from where I awakened. When I got married, and till I was married, I was a very slim person, very good looking, everything. But the day after I got married, and then I became a typical Punjabi woman who just knew that to eat, to do housework and sleep and rest in the afternoon. That's it, and I can eat as much as I want. For me, marriage didn't change anything, so I was still there, in fact, a little more worse. So I became huge. I became 85 kgs in size, and my height is just 5 feet 1 inch. And I never felt the need to lose weight or to treat my body well. I would just dump anything that I wanted to and would eat, and I had a son, and I was very happy with my fat, accepting it just the way it is, and very comfortable with it. It's, I think, 1989. I was crossing the road in Mumbai. There's a street called Grant Road, and I was staying there earlier close by. So I was crossing the road. The signal said, now you can cross. And when I was about to cross, a cyclist who was coming there, he almost crashed into me, and then he was so irritated, and he said, "Hey, Moti, bajo hat." This was like a big shock to me, because in front of the whole public, he had told me, "Hey, Moti, bajo hat." That took me in a real, this was like a wake-up call for me, and I suddenly realized, oh my God, I'm so fat. I need to work on myself. And then I started, working. I didn't know what to do, because it's such a conservative family. They won't allow you to go to gyms. You're not allowed to exercise. You have to wear long clothes, long kurtis and everything, because that's the way Punjabi women are supposed to dress. Daughter-in-laws are supposed to dress. You have huge dupattas. So how do I exercise? I can't do anything for myself. And if I diet, that's not the way they think is right. In a Punjabi family, eating was the culture. So I didn't know where to start, and then I secretly started giving up food, and I would eat very little, and I would hide. In those days, we had these video cassettes, and I would put on those video cassettes, and I would do a little exercise in my room. And whenever somebody would come, I would wear those long kurtas again and hide myself. Like this, I lost 40 kgs of weight, of 38 kgs to be precise. I lost that much weight in 1 year. And then everybody started coming to me. Till now, again, this is a very physical journey where I realized, okay, the first awakening call came from the body, where I realized I'm fat. So this was the first call. Now, after this has changed, and I started, I started teaching people suddenly, because I was the talk, in every social meeting, in gatherings, people would, oh, you lost so much weight, teach us also, and then I would teach people and all that stuff. And then suddenly I realized that I need to meditate. I need to sit quietly after each time I teach. And every time I would teach, I would connect to a different me. Somebody who looked like me but was not me was always connecting through from inside. And I had this sudden self-query all the time happening, Like this was like a magical life for me. Everything was changing. Life was continuously transforming. And I didn't know what was happening. And then my son got migraine, and he was very little, and he got migraine. So this is in 1990 almost. And he got migraine, and he used to have severe migraine. He had to be hospitalized. He would be unconscious for 3-4 days. And then somebody told me, you need to do Reiki for this boy, because we can't medicate him so much. We can't keep him in hospitals. So you need to learn Reiki. And I said, what's Reiki? In those days, we never knew what's Reiki. 89, 90s, nobody knew what's Reiki. So somebody gave me an address, and then I went there looking for somebody who would teach me Reiki. I thought probably it is something to do something to the head, and then my child will be okay. So the need was only to heal my child. The first step to healing was I need to heal my child. When I went there, and then they told me, this is something so astral, I was shocked, because this is not, I never thought there is something like this to be learned. There's something like this which is existing. There is another dimension of life. And the day one when I sat to meditate there, I traveled 2000 years ahead in time in the tunnel, and I could watch the world from that side. So when I came back, I was so shocked, because I couldn't believe that this was happening to me in just one sitting. And then the teacher, then she told me that you're meant to be a healer. So I didn't understand still. But the day one I went back home, and I touched my child, and I did Reiki. After that, till for years, like I remember, for the next 30 years, he never got migraine. So I believe he completely healed. And he never got migraine after that day. So I became very curious, and I started meditating for a longer period of time. I would meditate, and I would, in Reiki, you have this first degree. When you do it, you're supposed to heal your chakras for at least 21 days was compulsory. So I would do that 3 times a day. And then I said, let me do this for more time. I would end up doing it for 8 hours a day. And imagine, with the kind of hard life where my family was not open to meditation, they started thinking she's learning some kind of witchcraft and stuff like this. I was tortured in my family, because I could sit 8 hours in meditation. But you won't believe the amazing experiences that happened. Is I could see from where I come. I had touched the core, the source. It gave me a lot of strength, to conduct my life. And I knew that I need to be in touch with this energy. I could get glimpses of my inner energy. I knew there were some forms happening, some words were happening. But there was a lot of conflict at home, so there was a lot of pressure. I learned one more thing in this pressure is, till you are not pressurized by the third dimension, till you are not tortured for something, till you don't have some kind of suffering, or ever, people who are averse to you, some kind of pulling down for you, till then you will not grow. So it's exactly like, if a tree has to grow, the roots have to go deep inside, isn't it? Only then the tree grows a lot. So I felt there was no suffering, there was no desire to grow, there was no desire to change. And when this suffering was happening to me, this desire was strong, and I realized that I need to go back to Godhead. something which governs this play, which governs this whole universe. I need to go back there because that's the safest place. That's my source, because I had recognized it somewhere. I had got a lot of glimpses of it. And I started connecting to this source of mine. And while I was becoming a Reiki grandmaster, so I must have repeated my Reiki degree 19 times, the master's degree. And I would try different teachers, explore. The first sign, okay, the first sign that you are having a spiritual awakening is you suddenly become very greedy. One glimpse that you had of your spiritual self, now you're very greedy because I want more experience, more experience. I want to experience this again. You start getting attached to your spiritual experiences, and when they stop, then you go in search of it. You hunt for teachers, you hunt for knowledge, you hunt for people who will give you more, 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 and it's never enough. So, and you get very attached. You always want to be in that bliss because you feel so, this is so safe. And the moment it doesn't happen, you become restless. It's not happening. Let me look for something. Let me go to YouTube, like we do it when we are in that state of inertia. Exactly like this, I would be looking. I would be a desperate seeker in those days. And then that was a time when, in this desperacy, my guru came into my life. So my guru story, and it's very different. I know it's difficult to believe, but I have to be honest. I haven't met her till date, but I had an awakening because she came into my dream, and I had 3 more mounds. One was full of light, and the other 2 mounds were just silent, and nothing was happening. And I was offered to this light, and I merged into light. So I was wondering, this dream was so real because when I merged into the light, I had felt the heat and I was sweating. And when I got up, I was really sweating. And I felt something had changed inside me. My cellular composition has changed. So it was, and I asked my receptionist, she was a Maharashtrian, and she knew, she was from a different kind of religion from mine. So I asked her questions, and she said, you must go to the Devi temple and you might find, some relief there. You must go there. And it was difficult in those days for me to go to the temple. My family believed that God sticks into the Gurudwara. If you go outside it, you will never find him. Or he is up there, or he is in the Gurudwara. Otherwise, and God is male. So you will not find him otherwise. You have to go through this channel only. That's it. So anyway, I found a way to explore the Devi temple. While I was on the way there, I almost got lost, and I reached a place which is my guru's place, which is called Ganeshpuri, where Nityanand Baba has been the guru. The second guru in the lineage was Muktanand Baba, and the third is Swami Chidvilasananda. And she's a lady. She's not there, and she wasn't there even at that time. But when I reached there, what I saw, I was so shocked because this was the exact place which I had dreamt of. And when I reached there, for me, the first thing that happened was Shaktipat. Shaktipat means an awakening of the Shakti, the Kundalini Shakti, where all your 7 chakras make way, they get aligned for some time, and then there's a spurge of energy, and you will experience a spiritual bliss. And that happened to me for the first time, and that was my awakening. I want you to pause, close your eyes for a minute. Just close your eyes for a minute. Look inside yourself. Take a good look at yourself. Very good look at yourself. Connect to every cell, whatever you are right now. Tell yourself, I am this. The real me is this. Connect to every cell. Take a deep breath. Connect to every bone of yours. Accept that this is me. I am this. Connect to every drop of your blood. Connect to that flow of the blood inside you, and recognize and say, I am this. Connect to the smallest space inside, the smallest sound that's happening inside you, and tell yourself, I am this. Connect to every little part of your existence, your past, all your experiences, your realization, all your effort in the path of self-realization, and tell yourself, I am this. This is it. This is the perfect truth. Connect to your deep self inside. going back to Godhead is not going back somewhere out, but it's going down inside. Go down the lane which takes you deep into your own heart, into the pilgrimage of your own self. Tell yourself, I am this. ए खुदा ये सारी धरती तू चलाता है, मेरी भी सुन ले अर्ज मुझे घर बुलाता है, भगवान है कहाँ रे तू. And the answer is, I'm just inside you, the divine energy. And gently open your eyes when you're ready to go ahead. So in that time, in that moment, I went through a major spiritual awakening, a journey of self-realization, a very intense journey of self-realization started for me. I didn't know anything about the place, and I was introduced by somebody there, a lady who was coming into the temple when leaving the temple when I entered that temple. That lady stopped and she waited 2 hours till I had finished all my process, because I didn't know what's happening. And then when I came out, she was like, she gave me cognitive therapy, and I was crying a lot and tears were flowing through my eyes, and she helped me to calm down. And then she told me, I know what's happening to you. So what you're going through is an awakening. It's a Shakti path. And then you need to do some sadhana to sustain this energy. This energy happens to people to tell you, to take you back home. This is like a guide which comes and says, okay, now I'll guide you from here on. Let's do what you've come here to do. Let's take you to your journey of your own purpose. Let's help you recognize what you are. But you have to learn to sustain this energy. You have to learn how to handle this energy or how to align with this energy. And for that, sometimes you need a teacher. Sometimes different teachers come and teach you. It all depends on the receptivity of the student, how the student takes it, and according to that, you will keep getting teachers who guide you to manage this energy. Look back into your life. If you see this, I'm not your first teacher. If you look back into your life, somewhere where you started the journey, one day you were doing something and something happened, and you suddenly thought, oh, no, this is not it. This is not the truth. I need to look beyond this. Look behind in your life and recognize you must have had some point, some teacher there who struck it for you, who struck the light for you, and suddenly you saw the world to be a different place, yourself to be different. That happened to my life, and that changed my life. Till then, I had a lot of arrogance because I had achieved, perfection in the body, perfection in my spiritual states. I could meditate. Even after knowing and understanding spirituality, there was a lot of arrogance, lot of physical me, lot of ego inside me. Till then I had not recognized it, till I did not get a guru, through my guru's energy. Till then I did not recognize that there is nothing like me. There is only this energy, but we are only channels of this energy. You can't be the best channel, the refined channel. You can, of course, refine in many ways by giving up your ego and stuff, but you can't be the best, the greatest, the wonderful. There's nothing like this. All these words, these superlatives that you use or the adjectives that you use, they actually belong to the energy, because there's nothing owned by you. We own nothing. I suddenly realized that I own nothing. Whatever I have is only because of the divine energy. So in the Guru Granth Sahib, there's a beautiful line which says, "Mera mujh mein kuch nahi, jo kuch hai so tera, tera tujhko saap de kya lage mera." It means there's nothing here that can belong to anybody. Nothing. But you can use it fully. You can experience it fully. You can transform your own energy, refine it, and transcend it to that existence, that divine existence, And it can be a great happening like this in the journey of the soul. The human body is a great vehicle, perfect vehicle, which can take you there. Everything is come to help you. Your senses, when people tell you no, your senses are bad, don't give in to it, I tell them no, you can use the same senses to refine yourself, to reach that level of understanding, to grow better. So you can use your senses, you can use your whole cellular structure, you can use the knowledge of your body, the way it is structured, the way it performs. You can use the study of elements, you can use every single thing about your body with this very refined intelligence which is given in this body, to evolve and to go back into your source from where you started your journey. I always say, the soul, we are so hungry for experiences that we keep jumping from teacher to teacher, from one place to another. We are always in search. A seeker is always looking. But once you have found the right path, the right thing, then you don't have to do much. Once you're connected into the right plug, the voltage is right, you're deriving perfect strength from it. Now you don't need anything else. For me, my guru was a full stop for me. Like, I understood, this is it. Now, when I say full stop, you don't get confused, okay? Like, there is sometimes we experience inertia where nothing is happening. Suddenly, spiritual experiences were happening, great things were happening, dreams were happening, and then one fine day, nothing is happening to us. So there would be times when I would experience nothing, absolutely nothing. And I used to think, oh my God, I've lost it. I must have done something wrong. I've become egoistical. I would keep saying, sorry, please forgive me. Oh God, this is not going right. And I would desperately try to do things to get connected, and it wouldn't work. And then I realized the helplessness, that state, now when I look back, it is a state where your karmic cycle has to take over your life. Try and understand, because we have a backlog of karma which we have to diminish in this life, we have to finish. So for that karmic suffering, like I said today before the session I was discussing with Nalini, suffering is a choice. Things are just the way they are, but you choose to suffer for them. For example, people in your life you feel have tortured you. No, they were just the way they are. They have come with their package of karma. We respect that. And we have come with ours part, because we want them to treat us the way we want to be treated. We want them to listen to us or allow us to do what we want according to our ignorance, and they don't allow. So that's not okay, isn't it? Because we didn't have an understanding, we started blaming them and we started suffering. I have realized in this journey, the greatest thing in this world is give people the freedom also to make as many mistakes they want to make. You know why? Because unless and until you don't make your own mistakes, and unless and until you really suffer for them, you will never learn your lessons. Like our parents always said, don't do this, don't try and take somebody's things, don't beat somebody, don't say harsh words. But we never listen, isn't it? We keep doing. Unless we really did this to somebody and the consequences were dire hard, like we broke relationships, we treated people bad, and then we go on a journey of guilt, and then we realize, oh my God, this is not good, and then we need regression. So there are many things in this world which really need to be done ourselves, because this is our karma. You have to accept that this is our karma. Suffering only comes out of a space where you do not understand the situation, or because you're ignorant, because you're naive to the spiritual world, the dimension. So you suffer sometimes unnecessarily. People are just going to be the way they are. They are never going to be changed. They are never going to change just because you tell them. But your understanding can change. Like my understanding of those things, it was changeable. I didn't have to forgive them. It just happened that I let go of those things because I understood. They were brought up that way. My parents were brought up that way. They can't help it. So they taught me what they were educated for. I can't blame them, isn't it? Like my in-laws, they were just the way they were. They had come from Pakistan, and they had gone through a lot of suffering in the partition. My mother-in-law was tied in a gunny bag and brought to India in the separation, so that she would not be raped on her way when she was young, So they have been through a lot of suffering where they had to suddenly leave all the wealth and then come back to India. And now they wanted to control everything because they had lost everything, isn't it? So generally people always treat others just the way they have been treated, not realizing that we can break the patterns, we can change otherwise, think otherwise. We don't do that. When we come out of a bitter experience, we let the incident go, but we become bitter. So you see, there are some people who will always find faults, who will always make complaints. I'm talking, I've done this, okay? So I'm not pointing a finger at anybody, but this has been me. I have been in that space where I have been constantly bitter, constantly finding faults, constantly complaining, constantly I was harsh, constantly wanting to control. You know why? Because I had come from that unhealed space which I had not understood. Now when I understand all this, I know that no, I have to just let it go. There was nothing wrong with anybody, whatever they did. They just did what they were. I didn't know how to accept this situation, or I didn't know how to identify the beings, the spiritual existence of mine. That is why it was ignorance, it was naivety. So when I understand this now, I don't need regression. We just need understanding to evolve. The need to share also comes from the feeling that, oh, because I've been innocent, I'm sure all these 80 people are very innocent too. I have been naive, I'm sure you guys are also very naive. I've been innocent, you are also as innocent. So it's nobody's fault. There's nothing like a fault, you know. This makes you very humble, this makes you very grounded, this makes you very connected, this makes you really appreciate this energy. This brings a lot of gratitude. Gratitude aligns you, you know, gratitude aligns you with this power. A small incident came to my mind in the morning when I had to put on the session. I just remembered, you know, when I was going to get my periods for the first time, because it was a very conservative household and I could never discuss periods, because periods is a taboo. You can't talk about it. We were never explained. Of course, we knew from the school friends and stuff, you know, what is it about. So when this happened to me, and I used to pray hard, oh my God, now I don't know what will happen to me. And I used to feel, you know, I was told that once you start getting your periods, then, you know, you turn into a woman and stuff like this. It was all scary for me. And because I had never had a talk with my mother on this subject, never, ever. Even after I was quite grown up, I could never talk about my mother about periods. Many women in India till now, they are not treated well in periods, but they are not explained why. So, you know, when you have periods, you're not allowed to go to the temple. You're not allowed to go for a meditation. You're not allowed to go to all the holy places. Do you know why? Many people do not know the reason. I want to tell you this reason because it's important for each one of us to know what is the reason. When women have periods, when girls have periods, the energy is always in the lower chakras, and the body is working in the physical dimension to detoxify. So the energy is on a very, you know, we vibrate on a very low frequency at that time, because there's a lot of pain when it's happening, when the body is releasing something. So it's like a regression. You're allowing it to go. In that time, the energy vibrates in the lower chakras. Suddenly, if you go to a place which is which is a holy place, which has a very high vibrancy, or people who meditate, or swamis or sadhus whom you don't touch is because they are on a high vibrancy or high frequency, you will go through a lot of pain. The periods become very difficult, and you will go through a lot of pain and uneasiness, because there is a conflict in the energy. It doesn't know what to do. It cannot raise the vibration. At the same time, the energy is vibrating in the lower chakras, and because you're going into the higher frequency, the energy wants to rise up. It cannot, because that time it is towards gravity. So because of that, the person having periods really suffers. And I never knew this. I was never explained by my parents. In fact, I was never explained by any other religious community about this, that why women with periods were not allowed to do so many things, and they just kept separate. The plate was given separate, you eat separate. I never knew this. It's because that was so that I wouldn't suffer. And it was such a miserable experience in those days for me, that whenever I would get periods, like, I would be so scared. I would be sitting in the school in a corner, and I would tell God, oh my God, please help me. Something is going wrong in this body. And you can't imagine the kind of prayers I used to do, you know. So for everything, because my parents, I couldn't talk to my parents about many things. I just remember that every conversation of mine was with eyes closed, and it was always with God. Oh God, please help me. Oh God, please help me. What will happen in school now? How will I tell anybody? So every conversation that was happening with me it was with God. It was the energy inside. I would always close my eyes and connect inside. So somewhere in that innocence, somewhere in that naivety, I really got connected to this divine energy so much that the moment I think that's the reason I met my guru. And the moment I got in touch with my guru's energy, it just exploded. And you know how many times I went to the Shakti path? Number of times my chakras opened, number of times I have been through this spiritual bliss, is because I understand it comes from that naive part where you think you're left alone and you have nobody. But then you're very young and you pray. There must be so many times, even now, when you cannot tell people, I need help, please do something. You just close your eyes and you sit with your eyes closed and you pray. Believe me, God does listen. Things change. A lot of things happen in our life. We never realize this. But every time you pray, and when you're genuinely suffering, or when you're deep there in that pain with yourself, there are times when there is connection happening inside, and suddenly there is an explosion of spirituality in our life. And it's a beautiful experience, believe me. For me, when I look back, there's a lot of gratitude in the smallest thing, where I have stuck in the corners of my house, or when I have been very heartbroken and I have had no friends because we were not allowed friends. So I remember every conversation that I made, every talk that I had was only with the energy inside. And now when I look at it, it always guided me. It always took me upward. I was the only one who transcended to this kind of space in my life, where if I look at my other people in my family, they are still there. They are in that space even now. For me, the energy has taken me places. It has done so much good to me, and that I'm so connected with it. It's a beautiful experiences. It's a part of, it's a whole chain of experiences which I can never thank enough for. There's a lot of gratitude inside, and when there's gratitude, there's an awakening. Suddenly, though, it's such a huge flow of energy in gratitude that everything else just goes away. It just flows away. The past has just flown away. There are a number of things which I have forgotten about my life, which was so painful, but they have lost their power to give me pain anymore. I just realize I'm good. I'm so happy. I'm blessed. I just remember this beginning of the day, end of the day, and I feel, oh, thank God, I feel so blessed. Thank God I connected to this divine energy, and it really works. Let's close our eyes, and for a few moments, let's connect to this power, this gratitude in us. Just close your eyes. Just go take a deep breath. Go deep inside your body. Take a deep, deep breath inside into your abdomen. Just let it expand. Your Nabhi Kshetra is like Padmanabhan. We say, no? Something that came out from the Nabhi, the source of creation. Breathe into this. You are a part of that beautiful creation. Tell yourself, I am a part of this beautiful creation. I thank the divine energy for this existence. For I can build a relationship now with my divine energy. Take a deep breath. Again, expand your whole navel reach in your connection to this earth, to your creativity. Exhale. Say a beautiful thank you. When you say thank you, there are millions of lights inside. The power of gratitude lights a millions of lights inside you. Million pathways are lit up. You're allowed a choice to choose whatever you like. You're given a choice. Whatever path is comfortable for you to come back home. The energy is always waiting to guide us. Go deep inside yourself. Take a deep breath. Surrender yourself to this energy as you treat your body with this breath. Go and surrender to this divine energy. Just have a beautiful relationship, a belonging with this energy right now. Connect to this beautiful energy. Connect. कहते हैं खुदा ने इस जहाँ में सभी के लिए किसी न किसी को है बनाया, हर किसी के लिए तेरा मिलना है उस रब का इशारा, मानो मुझको बनाया तेरे जैसे ही किसी के लिए। कुछ तो है तुझसे राबता, कुछ तो है तुझसे राबता। For each one of us, we have our guiding divine angel who is made for us, who resides in this body, the representation of divine. Is resting inside you in the form of this divine energy, in the form of prana. It is always waiting with its hands extended. We just have to surrender, put our hands into the hands of our guide, and allow ourselves to flow with this energy, with this life force energy. It is the supreme guide, the divine light, which takes us and connects us deep into our roots, into our source. कुछ तो है तुझसे राबता. Rabta means something which comes out of Rab, the energy which comes out of Rab. Rab means God. Rabbi means person of God. Rabta means something that's connected to the divine. And gently open your eyes. So when I look back at my journey, and now when I understand from, when you look at your journey from a bitter space, then you can become bitter. When you look at your journey from this space of understanding, believe me, it's a knockout. It's a wonderful journey. I have understood. It's not necessary that all of you have to go through these sufferings, or all of you will have to go through this torture, and all of you will have to go through all the hard things which I went through. So like I have told you, there's a time even when I died and I came back, I had nobody by my side. Remember this. I had nobody by my side, just a family friend and a maid. I remember when I died, and when the doctor pronounced that she's dead, I remember when I was watching from outside the body and I was screaming, and then my husband came and I was screaming and I'm telling them that, and then there was nobody listening. And again I remember even the habits which I talk about. I had this habit of again and again connecting, closing my eyes and connecting to the inside. So even in that state, I remember one thing is, when nothing worked, I tried to shake them up. I tried to wake everybody, tell them that I'm alive. Nothing was working. But in that time, I remember I still did something like this. There's no body, there are no hands, there's no head in that time. But something does exist, which is a part of us. Something does exist, something which is very powerful, because when I closed my eyes and I said, oh my God, please, give me one more chance. I'll just do what you want me to do, and I'll only do what you want me to do. And I was back in my body. It was, for others it was a miracle, but for me, I had understood it was a promise that I made, that I would serve this divine energy, and this divine energy would mean everything to me. That day onward, my life, which really changed into something else. Every transition for me was very painful. I had gone through a lot of pain, lot of trauma, but when I came out of it, when I see there from this upper space, when I see all that, it was a huge blessing for me. Not necessary you will have to go through this trauma, not necessary that you will have to go through all the pains and suffering. Believe me, not necessary to be spiritual. For some people it just happens. Like you just did yoga and meditation and it happened. Some people just go to 2 yoga sessions and then they keep following it. They are always meditating. They are very self-realized. For some people it's easy. It depends on your karma, how our karmic baggage has been, and depends on how graceful you are about accepting it. We have to be very graceful. I have resisted, fought, I have, you can't imagine, I have thumped my feet, no, I want it to happen, but nothing works. It just happens the way it has to work. We have to understand that we have to give in to this energy. And now when I look at my life from when I respect my body, through this, when I respect my divine energy, there are times of alignment which just happen. They just happen. I have to be just there, close my eyes, it just happens. And then I understand that it's working. The path that I'm following for myself is working. You will have to choose your path. You cannot keep going in different directions to reach your destination. You keep exploring till you find a path and choose that path, then stick to this path. That path will take you to your destination of self-realization. So for example, now I'll give you a nice example. In this last whole week, every day I choose one body part to acknowledge and respect. Okay, every day I choose a part of my body to acknowledge and respect, and I list in my mind the number of things this has done. The divine energy has worked through me. So today I had to do with my hands. Okay, let's all do this together. I want to end this session from this acknowledgement, which is really a powerful way, believe me. When I did it for my eyes, I ended up crying because there were tears of gratitude even I did my eyes. When I did my ears, I had tears of gratitude too. So each time you do this, you will find a wonderful experience, to assimilate what I told you, to go through this process. You could just start with this today, and you will see it will work for you. So you don't have to be, you don't have to listen to my story. I want you to participate in what I do. Even today, what I did, I want you to participate with that, so that we have this connection, we have this magnetism, we have this relationship with the divine energy, and we connect the same way. So just lift your palms up. Just take your palms up. Look at your palms. Look at your palms. Rub them. Look at your palms. Now, just try and remember what all you remember. What do your hands do for you? Look at yourself from the beginning of your human journey. What all your hands have done for you. Just tell your hands, you've done so much for me. My God, each time I touched my mother, these were the hands that gave me the experience of touching my mother when I came into the body. Each time I touched my children, my child, I remember how it felt. Each time I have been eating with these hands, with these little hands, these beautiful hands of God, each time I have used them to eat something which made me survive. These hands, which symbolize the 5 elements, the tips, they symbolize the elements of my body. Just keep touching your palms, your arms, any way you like. Tell yourself, my arms have been so good. So many times I've held so many things. I could exercise, I could stay healthy. I could use my hands for my survival so many times. They have helped me. They have stopped me from falling. They have been my strength. My body represents all the strength through my arms, palms, through my fingers. So many times I have expressed things through my hands. Each finger, each fingertip, each knuckle of ours, we are educated. We have written so many things. We have expressed ourselves through our hands in our writings while we were studying. Each time we helped somebody with these hands, the divine energy was there with us. Keep touching your elbows, your forearms, your arms, your biceps and triceps. The divine energy is working through each and every cell of our body, and the moment we decide, we choose to respect, we choose to love, we choose to honor each part of our body. Each part each part of the divine energy inside the body, the way it works through our body. Believe me, you're healing yourself not only in this life, whatever you feel you want to heal, but in your past lives also. When you're doing this to your body, you're respecting all the bodies that you have had in all other lives. You're respecting each time, you're respecting the divine energy. Each time you respect a part of your body. It's a wonderful experience. Just say thank you. Each time to say thank you, you join your hands and say thank you. Rub your palms again. Rub them together. Put them on your eyes. And tell yourself, I feel so good connecting, touching my own self with my hands. Every time you have to touch your body, to scratch your body, you need your own hands. We are so lucky. We have the perfect hands. Touch your whole face and body with these hands and say thank you to your hands that they give you the perfect experience of touch. Rub your palms again. Keep them joined together in front of your heart, in front of your chest. Express your gratitude to the divine energy which works through your hands. And tell yourself, I allow my hands to be a channel of the divine energy. May these hands work as per the Shakti's desires. My hands are made to serve the divine energy. Even when I eat, even when I help, even when I work with these hands, I believe it is just what the power wants us to do with these hands. I allow my hands to become a channel of the divine energy. Rub them together again. Rub them on your face, on your neck, shoulders, arms. Let's get ready for a meditation. It's time for you to assimilate. I don't want you to go without a meditation. So today we will be first sitting. Try to sit. Those who feel that you cannot sit for a longer period of time, you may lie down. But today I'm going to work on the expansion and the contraction of energy inside the body. So don't close your eyes, listen carefully. We're going to do a meditation in which every breath you will see expansion of what you have realized, your gratitude, your virtues, your power. Look inside. Each time you will be breathing in, you will hold this expanded energy into yourself. You will hold it for some time. Allow it to expand in every dimension of your life and slowly relax it. So slowly we will be going to gliding into a meditation. After you finish your breathing exercises, you can lie down. In case you can't sit from the beginning, then you can lie down. But I would recommend that first 5 minutes, please keep sitting, everybody. Find a comfortable position, everybody. Sit in your chair. Tell yourself, I am getting ready for my transcendence. You know, you have to make your body ready. Every time you do something, you should have this spiritual enthusiasm. I'm going back to Godhead. Tell yourself, I'm ready to go back to Godhead. I'm ready to go back into my source. You should be happy. You should be excited about your spiritual journey. You should not take it, oh, I should not smile. I should be very serious. Don't do that. Be very happy. Be enthusiastic. This is my awakening, my journey. Let me fully engage with it. I'm ready for my meditation. 100% engage with the instructions. Ready, everybody? A nice, gentle smile on your faces. Take a very deep breath into your tailbone, into the lower abdomen, into your heart, and just allow your body to expand. Just allow your body to expand.